Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's episode, we're going to be looking at the mystery of the Kozyrev mirrors, or is it, Kozyrev mirrors. It looks pretty good, folks. It's an out-of-sight, mind-bending article we're going to read through, and we're going to have some fun. But first, as always, let me show off artwork from my own upcoming graphic novel, Scumdogs, and then we'll have a great time. Here's the Extreme 90s cover from my graphic novel. I did this cover. Let's get back to this, folks. Yeah, either way, this is the Extreme 90s cover from a graphic novel. I did this cover to harken back to the comics of the early 90s. My book, Scumdogs, is a loving parody of cartoons from the 80s and 90s. When you're reading my book, you'll be reminded of watching Saturday morning cartoons when you were a kid, and as well as reading comic books from back then as well. Either way, the Scumdogs, the stars of my book, they're your classic Saturday morning cartoon villains trying to take over the world because they were banned from pro sports. That's the reason behind it, folks. Let me explain. In the far future where my book takes place, thanks to advancements in magic and science, people can turn themselves into gods or monsters and compete for fame and fortune in superhuman experiments. The Scumdogs compete in experiments held with monsters as the athletes. Yeah. They were known as Scumdogs because they played for the Scumdogs Corporation. It's why basically when they were banned for basically being villains and idiots, they kept calling themselves Scumdogs and now want to rule the world. Either way, they're led by Death Mug. Death Mug is a cyborg overlord of the Scumdogs. He's a guy with the metal skull mask over here for a face. Death Mug, he's a parody of various villains from 80s and 90s cartoons. You can see in the way I designed him. For one thing, he's got a bunch of horns growing out of his cyborg skull of a face that make him resemble Monstar, the arch-villain of the Silverhawks cartoon. But if you also notice, Death Mug's face is also a metal mask, which resembles the metal mask of Cobra Commander, the leader of Cobra and the arch-enemies of the G.I. Joe or Real American Hero cartoon. Like those villains, Death Mug wants to rule the world, but is as dumb as a brick. Well, with an ego the size of Mount Everest. But don't worry, folks, he's not the only one with a giant ego and very little IQ. His arch enemy, the hero of this book, the guy we're relying on to save us, Buick Starpoon, is just as stupid and arrogant as Death Mug himself. Buick Starpoon is the guy with the pompadour hair with a little palm tree growing out of it. Buick Starpoon is the leader of the Wild Rangers, who are basically my parody of G.I. Joe crossed over with Starfleet from Star Trek. Buick Starpoon himself, he's basically the idiotic military commander of the Wild Rangers and leads them in the battle. And he's also a complete and utter idiot with a giant ego, maybe even worse than Death Muggs himself. Either way, the team he leads, the Wild Rangers, because they're G.I. Joe parodies, that means each member of the Wild Rangers is a military specialty. That's their special skills and abilities. Buick Starpoon's special skill is that he's a starship captain who leads the Wild Rangers into battle. And all the Wild Rangers, by the way, also wear the same uniform. They wear this sort of Starfleet-looking space cadet uniform that Buick Starpoon is wearing. Anyone on this cover wearing this uniform, well, they're a member of the Wild Rangers. So let's look at them now. Over here, this guy with the mohawk, his name is Roadhog. His military specialty is that he's a soldier from the U.S. Army who was transferred over to the Wild Rangers to fight the Scumdogs. See him? Yeah. Then we have Beach Pounder. He's this bald guy with the gun down here, folks. His military specialty is that he was, once a member of the Marines. Yeah. Then we have Blast Tank. Blast Tank is this guy with the helmet. See him? His skill is that he's a tanker. In other words, he drives around weaponized vehicles like this or tanks. Now, on this cover, where you see them all on, folks, it's one of 3 different variant covers. That means when you back my book, you'll have a choice of 3 different covers for your copy of the book. All right. Then we have Girl Friday. Girl Friday is this woman here with the short hair. Girl Friday is basically Buick Starpoon's second in command and the lieutenant on the Wild Rangers. She helps him lead the team. The thing is, Girl Friday hates Buick Starpoon's guts. She was assigned to the Wild Rangers to babysit them and make sure they do their jobs. Unfortunately, Buick Starpoon and his team basically consider her a real nag, and mostly he orders her to sit and spin, causing her to hate him all the more. Then we have Death Mug's henchmen, Murder Mouth and Sloppy. Sloppy is the big fat guy with tentacles growing out of his head, and Murder Mouth is the guy wearing the top hat and leather jacket. These 2 guys are your classic henchman villains, total idiots, but fun to read about. Then we have Hair Metal Doctor. He's the guy wearing the surgical mask, wielding the electric guitar, along with Miss Breasty Melons over here, folks. These 2 characters are human. Miss Breasty Melons being this woman right here. See her? Now, these two characters are parodies of two characters from the G.I. Joe, a real American hero cartoon, who are part of their enemy Cobra. Namely, they're parodies of Dr. Mindbender and the Baroness. Dr. Mindbender inspired me to create Hair Male Doctor here because his costume on the G.I. Joe cartoon honestly made Dr. Mindbender look more like a hair metal musician than a mad scientist. I thought, why not create a villain who was a hair metal musician and a mad scientist? So we came up with Hair Metal Doctor, who rocks out while doing mad science, who was hired by the scumdogs after they became villains. It's why he's a human and not a monster like the rest of them. Either way, he invents weapons for the scumdog, or I should say, he invents weapons and machines for the scumdogs that take over the world. He does it while rocking out. And Miss Rusty Millens, she's a parody, as I said, of the Baroness. The Baroness was Cobra's top spy and information agent. She was an incredibly rich woman who became a terrorist and wanted to help Cobra take over the world. In contrast, Miss Rusty Mullins is also an incredibly rich woman, but she didn't become a terrorist just to help the scumdogs take over the world. No, she joined up with the scumdogs because she was really bored with her life, because she was rich as hell and had everything, and she wanted fun. She's helping them take over the world just for a few grins. That's scumdogs, folks. Go back and when it's finally finished, hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed, and please share this video out. And remember, there's a pinned tweet on my Twitter page at 777MegaQuest1. You can use that link so you can see the stream again on my X page. And please share this video out. Now, let's go over here and look at some Indiegogos real quick. Now, here we have cyberpop control theory, folks. Either way, let's jump right into the synopsis. Let's see. This 72-page manga-inspired black and white graphic novel is packed full of cyberpunk action and violence. When the absolute loser Rachel gets herself into a situation where a major corporation wants her dead, she finds herself befriending her own assassin. Well, sort of. The deadly cyborg Yuki decides against killing her target, and both she and Rachel are now tied together in a wild ride where they're both targets of the mysterious Takagami Corporation. Now you can back this book for $25. You have a choice of 3 different covers. You have covers, you have, cover 1 right here, folks, looking pretty good. You have cover B, it's another great looking cover. Then you have cover C down here. You can back covers 1 and 2 together for $50, but you can back any individual cover for, $25. You also, I have a chance to get a giant size poster for another $25. So choose your cover or anything else in this campaign. You can back it for $25. Not bad. That's Cyberpop control theory. Looks pretty good, folks. Now, let's go over here and look at the Blue Bombshell Returns campaign. The Blue Bombshell returns. Hey, comics fans, the Blue Bombshell is back, baby. And this time around, she's facing off against a whole new slew of supervillains and arch-enemies. As everybody wants a piece of the Blue Bombshell, new bad guys, Thundercock and Super Tits, are looking to make, Bombshell regret ever becoming a superhero in the first place. Now, you can back this book for covers A through D. And you have a few add-on covers as well, folks. Now, you can back any individual cover for, $25. Like cover A here. And there's cover B, which is a homage to it's a homage cover to Jim Lee's X-Men 272, looking pretty good. Then you have cover C and D, which are adult covers, folks. I mean that despite these censor bars there, the actual covers won't have them on there. So you'll basically enjoy the nude covers entirely for yourselves when you get the covers. Here's cover C, and here's cover D. Now you can back cover C and D together for $50. And that's sounding pretty good, folks. But if you want cover B, if you want covers A or B, it's $25 a piece. Then there's the Trump Wins variant cover, folks, which is an add-on. Meaning that when you're checking out after you've backed a perk, you can basically hit the add-on button and add this Trump Wins cover as well to your campaign for an extra $25. Not bad. But let's go look at this trailer now, folks. All right. That was the Blue Bombshell Returns campaign, folks, up on Indiegogo. Back individual cover for $25. That looks pretty good. All right, then we have the King Cryptid campaign here as well, folks. Let's jump right into the synopsis for this book. This episodic ongoing monster and mystery series follows New England's supernatural hero King Cryptid. Every issue has a complete story as part of a larger continuity, printed in a classic style with glossy covers and newsprint interiors. Created, written, lettered, and designed by Peter Schmetti, published by Alterna Comics. And these 5 issues, in issue 5, King Cryptid will face White Mountain Yeti. Issue 6, he basically fights the Dragon Verdurkin. Issue 7, he meets Windy the Werewolf and the Cryptid Hunter Victor Lugo. Issue 8, he encounters the Zeta Reticulons. Issue 9, he basically battles the Puckwudgies. You can back these 5 issues for $15 up on Indiegogo, though there are other perks as well. You can basically, for $25, get the signed and unsigned, versions of basically these of these 5 issues. For another there's also $25 for basically the 1 through 9 catch-up perk, which is basically get all 1 through 9 issues of the King Cryptid series and get all issues together for $25. Then for $45, you can get basically all 9 issues, both signed and unsigned together. Not bad there, folks. Now, let me go over here real quick. Just again, quick look over there. Either way, you can back King Cryptid for a great price, and it looks pretty good, too. Now, that looks great. Now, let's go back over to Cyberpop Control Theory, because there's also a trailer for it as well. So let's take a look at this for this trailer and this campaign, too. That's Cyberpop Control Theory up on Indiegogo. Not bad. Let's go over here, folks, and let's get to this article, I suppose. Let me go over here. Stop screen for a moment, then go back over here, and let's look at this and get to this article. Yeah. Let me go to the top. Now, unlocking the mystery of the Kozyrev mirrors, time, consciousness, and the limits of human perception. It looks, like a strange-looking thing, folks. Apparently, this tube here is one of these Kozyrev mirrors. It looks like an interesting subject. So, let's get into this article now. For centuries, the human mind has grappled with the nature of time. The ability to alter its flow, peer into the past, or glimpse the future has remained a tantalizing mystery. While mainstream physics holds that time is an unyielding force, moving steadily in one direction, some researchers have sought to change this notion. Among them was Nikolai Kozyrev, a Soviet astrophysicist whose controversial theories suggested that time might be more fluid than we assume. Maybe, folks. But then again, I have a bad feeling about some Soviet scientists. Now, Kozyrev, maybe he was on the track here and maybe he wasn't, because there was another well-known Russian scientist or Soviet scientist, I'm making a distinction there, folks, that basically thought that basically plants of the same nature wouldn't compete against each other for resources. Do you know what this led to, folks? Mass starvation in the Soviet Union. Because plants of the same lineage wouldn't compete against each other. Individual plants that basically need water and dirt and sunlight, they wouldn't basically grow faster or grow more prevalent, basically to take more of it for themselves. Apparently, this guy thought that and basically led to mass starvation as whole crops basically died because he wasn't doing farming right. Now, does Kozyrev here, is his research even remotely feasible? No, it might be, folks, but the fact that Russia and the Soviet Union and, communism in general, basically with some dumbass ideas have led to mass starvation and disaster before, folks. So maybe not. I'm just saying so, folks, because as I read this guy's story and his theories, I just want to make it sure that there's a good chance maybe this is all just, well, make believe. Maybe this guy basically had a out there theory that will never basically actually play. That would, he had an out there theory that would never. Yeah, let me try that again. He had an out there theory that will never play out well. Basically, lead to disaster. Then again, maybe he was actually onto something. Not everyone can be an idiot. But though his theory does sound out there and outlandish, which is the problem there, folks. So, before we continue with this story, let's say this. What do you think that this man, what do you think Kozyrev was trying to do? It sounds like he was trying to expand people's consciousness and trying to basically, allow them to alter the perceptions of time and stuff like that. Maybe even basically alter time itself. And I'll do the limits of human perception and consciousness. Maybe there's something there, folks. Either way, let's get to his story now. Kozyrev proposed that time was not just a passive dimension, but an energy-like force interacting with matter and consciousness. Maybe. Yeah, because remember, there is the fourth dimension, folks, which is time. So indeed, maybe he thinks it's a passive energy that can basically, it's not a passive force, but an energy-like force interacting with matter and consciousness. And that our own minds can basically, and our consciousnesses can interact with it. Maybe, folks, because there is something that is known as precognition, where we're able to see glimpses into the future. So maybe there is truth to that matter. Either way, let's continue. Though dismissed by many of his peers, his ideas inspired a series of experiments using curved aluminum mirrors, devices that, according to researchers, could amplify human perception, induce altered states of awareness, and even open doorways to linear time experiences. Maybe. So is it possible that this guy could open up portals and allow people to pass through to non-linear time and have experiences in this non-linear time? Maybe. Either way, these so-called Kozyrev mirrors became the focus of Russian scientific and esoteric inquiry and experiments spanning decades. And I'm sure his theories played out well, and he was able to basically prove them. And they weren't just basically a mess of money sinkhole. The Soviets basically sank their resources into, basically leading to them basically being deeper in debt to something that was never going to play out and work. I'm not saying that, folks. It might have actually played out. Maybe he had something there, but maybe it also was a bit of a money sinkhole. Maybe he could have proved, maybe Kozyrev could have proven his theories, but still, if he did, why aren't we hearing more about this today then, folks, right? And why did why did the Soviet Union collapse in 1990? If they were basically, they might have been onto something with this case, folks, but then again, they also had a lot of bad ideas and did things that caused their entire government to collapse. So, once again, let's continue. With these mirrors, a scientific breakthrough, were these mirrors a scientific breakthrough or a mere illusion? Did they offer a means to manipulate time, or were they simply the product of overactive imagination? Yeah, this is a question we're asking, folks. Yeah, was the overactive imagination a hoax? Kozyrev could very well have been a con man, just basically trying to get himself, trying to get the government to basically fund his research. In reality, he knew it was never going to basically play out. He just wanted money. Could it be true? Maybe. Yeah. Were they the products of an overactive imagination? Yeah, I mean, that did Kozyrev here actually believe what he was doing, or was he just a hoaxer? If he believed, then he might have been deluding himself, folks, or maybe really, as I said, maybe there was something to it. Maybe he was on the right track. Either way, to understand their significance, we must first look at the mind behind them, the visionary behind the mirrors, Nikolai Kozyrev. So we're actually going to talk about the man himself. Now, before we get into that part, folks, let me go over here. I just want to basically see anyone who's watching us. All right. Let me do that. Let me go over here. Let's go over here, folks. Feel free to leave me a few chats as we basically look at now Nikolai Kozyrev and his history. Born in 1908 in St. Petersburg, Russia, Nikolai Kozyrev, and here's a picture of the man, folks, was once regarded as one of his country's most promising astrophysicists. By his early 20s, he was already significantly contributing to studying stellar energy. However, his career took a tragic turn when he was arrested in 1936 during Stalin's purges, sentenced to 10 years in Soviet labor camp. He endured brutal conditions, yet his mind remained active, continuing to develop theories that would later shake the scientific establishment. Okay, 1936 then. Okay, so he was born in 1908, 18, 28. Huh? So he was 28 years old when he was sent to these camps and stuff like that. So he's already basically a scientist. He'd already been through school and stuff like that. Or basically, if anything, he was still basically, he might basically just finishing his academic, getting his academic credentials, perhaps. Then he was sent to a labor camp, and I'm sure this made him love the Soviets all the more. Now, if he was basically a hoaxer, folks, maybe he did this to get back at the government that sent him literally to a labor camp and basically had him nearly work to death. Maybe he had a right to basically hoax them and basically bilk money out of them, huh? Remember, Stalin was was a prime A. Well, he was prime A, and then followed by two S's, folks. Yeah, you get what I'm saying there. Either way, let's talk more about Kozyrev. While in prison, Kozyrev. I'm not quite sure. I think it's Kozyrev. Yeah, Kozyrev pondered a fundamental question: what truly powers the stars? At the time, the accepted nuclear fusion model was gaining traction, but Kozyrev was unconvinced. He proposed an alternative explanation, suggesting that stars might generate energy through a process involving time itself. To him, time was not merely a passive backdrop, but a force capable of interacting with matter. And maybe it does, folks, influencing entropy and even being manipulated under the right conditions. Yes, I think it could be true, folks. Now, let me go back over here real quick, folks. We have 22 watching right off the bat. That's good. We have 23, 24 watching. All right, I'm going to mute that, folks. Either way, yeah, he believed that basically time itself could basically manipulate, matter influencing entropy, and even manipulated, and even time itself could be manipulated under the right conditions then. Maybe it is true, folks. Maybe it's not just a passive force. Maybe it is indeed an active energy that can interact with physical matter. I'm not saying that's impossible, folks, because his theory is indeed very, very interesting. This might be why basically, why the Soviet government basically took this man basically at his word. Maybe he basically thought his idea was so interesting that they should fund his work. As I said, folks, maybe there's some idea to it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kozyrev basically just didn't lie through his teeth just to basically get back at the government for throwing this man in a labor camp, and as so many others. Remember, Stalin killed more people, Stalin killed more people than Hitler. And that was just Stalin. He killed 21 million people. Hitler killed 11 million. And that was just Stalin. The Soviet government itself killed even far more than that. Through wars, famines, disease, putting people in labor camps, or should I say just concentration camps, and killing them. And by working them to death or basically starving them and stuff like that. Yeah, there was even this one time where the Soviet government put a bunch of people on an island to see if they would basically work together. What happened was the people resorted to cannibalism because there was not enough food or the food went bad, and they ended up killing each other. As I said, they were both evil sometimes because some of what they did was evil, folks, and sometimes it was just stupid. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kozyrev wasn't just trying to get money for research and didn't really have anything to basically really prove about it. And I don't basically fault him. Usually I hate hoaxers, folks. But in this case, Kozyrev and maybe other people who would bilk money out of such an evil government, well, go ahead. Either way, yeah. If he was basically bilking them out of money, I don't feel too well. I feel bad about myself, basically. So usually I hate hoaxers and stuff like that. But if this guy here did it and did to the government knowing what he was doing, well, maybe that wasn't so bad. Is why I can understand if he did do that because he hated them. Either way, yeah, he thought that time was an active energy, a force capable of interacting with matter, influencing entropy, and even being manipulated under the right conditions. So let's read on. When he was released in 1946, a year after the end of the Second World War, Kozyrev attempted to re-enter the scientific world, but his ideas were increasingly at odds with unconventional physics. Despite this, his theories gained a following, eventually inspiring researchers to develop Kozyrev mirrors, designed to test his hypothesis that time could be harnessed and human perception expanded beyond the ordinary limits. The experiments entering the Kozyrev mirrors. Entering the Kozyrev mirrors, folks. And here we have a picture. I use this for my for the thumbnail for my live stream, folks. One of these Kozyrev mirrors. It looks it looks like something from a cheap sci-fi movie, doesn't it, folks? But is there any real truth to this? Let's read on. The concept behind the Kozyrev mirrors was deceptively simple. Researchers constructed large concave spirals made of highly reflective aluminum, shaping them in a way that supposedly focused subtle energies, including those emitted by biological organisms. These mirrors were said to create a unique enclosed space that altered a subject's perception, blocking out external electromagnetic influences and allowing deeper access to cosmic and solar radiation. And maybe it wasn't just basically what's the word I'm looking for here, folks? It's basically, you know how we breathe oxygen and basically exhale carbon monoxide or carbon here. I'm not just sure basically if you were enclosed. I'm just saying, folks, if you were in these enclosed spaces, maybe what you were seeing here, maybe it was a hallucination brought on by basically breathing your own exhaled breaths. I mean, air could get in easily, but still you were in a closed space where basically you were breathing in your own bad smell. Maybe that's what would cause this time altering effects. You were just hallucinating here, folks, and not in a good way. Either way, in these enclosed spaces, as I said, it was to block out external electromagnetic influences and allowing deeper access to cosmic and solar radiation. And maybe there's truth to it, folks. We haven't read through the article yet, so let's give him Kozyrev here in his mirrors. Let's give him a bone. Now, before we go further, folks, once more, let me go over here. Let's see, we have 2 watching. We have 22 watching, so not bad there. Okay, so 25 watching, so not bad. Once again, let's get back to the article. In the 1990s, a team of Russian scientists, including Alexander Trumavov and Vail Kazanachev at the Institute for Scientific Research in Cosmic Anthropology, ISKRA, conducted extensive experiments with these mirrors. Participants who entered the mirror chambers reported bizarre and often profound experiences. Some described visions of past and future events as if they had momentarily stepped outside the linear progression of time. Others claimed to have out-of-body experiences, feeling detached from their physical selves as they floated through unfamiliar landscapes. Many spoke of a heightened sense of telepathic communication, suggesting that thought could be easily transmitted across great distances. So they also basically have a telepathic aspect to these things, folks, as well as expanding consciousness. Well, this is something I might really have to check more into in the future with these Kozyrev mirrors. They sound very interesting. Now, these results were so startling that ISRICA extended its research to global scale. Over 5,000 participants from 12 countries participated in its telepathic transmission experiments, and the reported sources rates were staggering. In some cases, up to 95% of the transmitted information was received correctly, a percentage far beyond what could be attributed to mere chance. The idea that human consciousness could operate non-locally, unrestricted by space and time, became a central theme of their research. So, if this is so successful, why haven't we heard more about this? Since the 90s, folks. I mean, it's been 30 years, but I haven't heard even more about this subject. Maybe it's basically being, maybe it's being shrouded. Maybe it's basically being obfuscated. Maybe it's being buried by various governments around the world, and especially by the United States, perhaps. Either way, let's continue. But the Kozyrev mirror experiments didn't just produce altered mental states, they also seemed to affect the environment. Scientists noted that during the test sessions, unexplained anomalies occurred, including fluctuations in temperature, blood pressure, and heart rate among participants. There were reports of strange luminous symbols appearing inside the mirrors, leading some to believe that these devices were conduits to higher dimensional realms. As I said, folks, maybe it was a hallucination. Maybe it was brought on by maybe by some sort of gas or chemicals. As I said, folks, we were in an enclosed space and there wasn't much air in them. Maybe you were hallucinating due to basically lack of oxygen. Or maybe indeed these things could access some higher dimensions, basically alter time, and people who were in them could literally see through time with them. Maybe. Either way, we can only basically speculate on that. But let's continue. Outside the laboratories, other unusual phenomena were recorded. UFOs were reportedly sighted hovering above research facilities on multiple occasions during mirror experiments. Some researchers speculated that these mirrors acted as beacons, drawing the attention of unknown intelligence. Whether these occurrences were coincidental or genuinely linked to the mirrors remains debatable. Indeed, folks, maybe it is. But remember, folks, I've talked about how with UFOs, people who see them also basically encounters with Bigfoot, ghosts, and other weird phenomena. I'm saying, folks, if these mirrors, these Kozyrev mirrors could influence could influence time, maybe even our perceptions and our consciousness, then maybe this is what attracted these alien beings here. If these alien beings were on a higher level and could basically, manipulate time and basically, have even maybe telepathic conversations with people, then perhaps these mirrors acted, and the people using them were acting as beacons for these beings who became very interested in what these humans were doing, who were studying basically time and consciousness. Maybe they basically knew it because they could feel it. This is why these alien beings were there. We can only, as I said, speculate on that fact, folks. Maybe this is why these beings were there. They were attracted by these Kozyrev mirrors and the ones using them because they felt like a beacon to them, like a let's say like a lighthouse out on the ocean. You'd see that this is basically, think of these aliens basically being sailors on the ocean. When they see a lighthouse, they went towards it. And this is what these Kozyrev mirrors were to them. They felt it and they saw it. They felt something was going on, so they became interested and went towards it. Like basically a lighthouse, you go towards the lighthouse or basically know to stay away from the lighthouse because there's rock and land in the area. So, give you a general location of where something. What I'm trying to say, folks, is the Kozyrev mirrors maybe gave these aliens, they gave them knowledge that something was going on and was interesting to them, so they wanted to study the humans who were conducting some sort of experiment, and that's it. Either way, very, very, very cool. I basically said to me, they're nice, folks. Either way, it was startling and interesting. Let's just say that. I sound like a broken record. Either way, I'm enjoying this live stream, folks. Let's continue because I want to hear more about this. Some people believe that these mirrors were acting as conduits to higher dimensional realms. Was that true, folks? Let's just read on and find out. Outside the laboratories, other unusual phenomena were recorded. UFOs were reportedly sighted hovering above research facilities on multiple occasions during mirror experiments. Some researchers speculated that these mirrors acted as beacons, drawing the attention of unknown intelligence. Whether these occurrences were coincidental or genuinely linked to the mirrors remains debatable. I suppose there is a chance that this was coincidental, that these signs were just happening and these mirror experiments were going on, folks. But, I feel that there was indeed something more going on here. Well, it is a chance that maybe these phenomena aren't linked, and maybe these alien beings were visiting Earth and didn't know about these Kozyrev mirrors. I really think that maybe there was something going on here, folks. I mean, we talked about before how these alien encounters, basically people have had alien encounters, or basically people have seen UFOs over various military bases, and these bases were doing experiments, or basically they had nuclear weapons stored on their bases. And maybe this is why some people speculate why these alien beings were visiting there. Maybe something similar was going on here, folks. I would have to ask, in the area where these experiments were taking place, was there any place where was there any place that was storing nuclear weapons, perhaps, or was there any nuclear power plant? Because people who basically worked at nuclear power plants, or basically been in the general area of a nuclear power plant, have also witnessed UFOs and other UAP phenomena going on there as well. I would have to ask, is there any way to basically see a correlation between these events and the Kozyrev mirrors, or not? As I said, folks, I will still say that maybe these Kozyrev mirrors did draw the attention of these alien beings because it feels right to me. At least that answer feels right to me. Let's read on, though, and as I said, maybe we can prove that idea, or maybe we can just wonder about it a bit more. I wonder if indeed these aliens were interested in these humans because they were conducting these mind-altering experiments. Either way, the science of torsion fields, a hidden force at play. While mainstream physics largely ignored Kozyrev's theories, some scientists sought to explain his findings using the concept of torsion fields, hypothetical energy fields believed to exist beyond electromagnetism and gravity. Yeah. Yeah, and gravity, apparently, folks. According to this theory, some torsion fields can transmit information instantaneously across vast distances. Potentially explain the enhanced telepathic abilities reported in Kozyrev mirror experiments. Because they could literally, basically, this torsion fields can transmit information instantaneously across vast distances, apparently. And maybe this is what was going on here. Perhaps. As I said, folks, it's an interesting theory, and maybe it does basically somehow have some sort of link to the Kozyrev mirrors. Well, to the Kozyrev mirrors. I'm still not quite sure if I'm basically pronouncing this guy's name right, folks. Either way, Tromavov and Kozyrev proposed that the Earth's electromagnetic field acts as a filter, limiting human perception to a fixed linear view of time. When this field is weakened, individuals may access an instantaneous information network that connects all points in time and space by traveling to specific geographic locations, such as the Arctic, or by using specialized shielding devices like the Kozyrev mirrors. If true, the implications are profound. Could it be that modern technology, with its constant electromagnetic interference from cell phones, Wi-Fi, and satellites, suppresses our natural psychic abilities? Are we living in a reality where our full kind of potential remains hidden behind a barrier of artificial noise? Maybe. Conclusion. Or basically, folks, we can only basically speculate on that. Yeah. Is it possible, before we read the conclusion on this, and conclusion, a mystery that defies easy answers. Before we read that part, folks, I want to read some of this part of what I just read again. Before I do, though, let me go over here. Yeah, we have 34 watching. Not bad, folks. 35, 36 watching. Yeah. Or should I say, 37 watching. Not bad. Either way. Let's read this part again, folks. Tromavov and Kozyrev. Yeah, these two men here basically propose that either way, these two physicists basically thought that maybe that Kozyev's mirrors basically used the torsion fields as some sort of basically to explain away the phenomenon that they were seeing. Yeah, Tromov and Kozyrev proposed that the Earth's electromagnetic field acts as a filter, limiting human perception to a fixed linear view of time. When this field is weakened, individuals may access an instantaneous information network that connects all points in time and space by traveling to a specific geographic locations. Yeah, such as the Arctic, or by using specialized shielding devices like the Kozyrev mirrors, saying that basically if you travel to an area where there's very little electromagnetic if you travel to an area where there is very little electromagnetic radiation, then perhaps your mind is basically unfiltered and basically has its perceptions rise, and you basically access this instantaneous information network that constantly basically always surrounds us. Some people have called this there's a name for it, folks, and it's something like that. The Akaska Records, as I understand, folks. It's something records. It's Akaska Records. It's basically like where all the knowledge and all the information, all the various tells of all the knowledge in the universe basically resides, folks. These Akaska Records. Yeah. They say that maybe this is what people are able to access. Maybe this is this instantaneous information that's always surrounding us. And when our perceptions and this electromagnetic radiation is removed, maybe we can basically access this information at will. Maybe. I can only speculate on that fact, folks. Either way, as the article says, if true, the implications are profound. Could it be that modern technology, with its constant electromagnetic interference from cell phones, Wi-Fi, and satellites, suppresses our natural psychic abilities? Are we living in a reality where our full cognitive potential remains hidden behind a barrier of artificial noise? Maybe. Let's read on and find out, folks. Either way, it is certainly startling and, damned intriguing. Conclusion: a mystery that defies easy answers. Yeah. Decades after their first experiments, Kozyrev mirrors remain an enigma. Are they a genuine tool for expanding human consciousness, or are the experiencers or are the experiences they produce purely psychological? Have we stumbled upon a forgotten principle of time and energy, or are these mirrors simply reflecting the hopes and expectations of those who entered them? Mainstream scientists have dismissed the claims surrounding Kozyrev mirrors, citing that the lack of rigorous and control experiments and peer-reviewed studies. However, the recent discovery of time reflections in quantum mechanics, and maybe this proves this theory is true, folks. However, the recent discoveries of time reflections in quantum mechanics, where waves can reverse their sequence when a medium shifts, abruptly, suggests that our understanding of time is far from complete. Indeed, folks, that is true. Now, perhaps Kozyrev was ahead of his time. Whether his theories will one day be validated by modern physics or remain an unsolved mystery, they continue to challenge our fundamental understanding of reality, and maybe the key to unlocking time itself has been hidden in plain sight all along. Indeed, folks, maybe it has. Maybe it indeed has. Either way, that is indeed interesting, folks. Now, we can basically spend a few minutes talking about this, or I could look for more information on this. Either way, the sources of this information comes from various books and basically articles. Yeah. We have McCrocken K's article here, I guess, or basically a book here, folks. His 2023 book, Unlucky Time, The Enigma of Kozyrev Mirrors and Time Travel Experiments. And stuff like that. Yeah, it was either a book or basically an article. Either way, this is some of the information. Some of the source of this information comes from Mr. K. McCrocken here. K. McCrocken here. Then we have some other people. We have Wikipedia, so I'm not going to basically look at that, folks, because Wikipedia is a very, very bad site now. We also have ISKA research papers, 1991 to 2005, Russian experiments on torsion fields and consciousness. And this were basically, this were basically the work of Tromavov and Mr. Kozyrev here, folks. We're basically saying that basically Mr. Kozyerev's mirrors, maybe they had something to do with the torsion fields. Indeed, folks. Yeah. Either way, very, very interesting. I can only speculate the truth of the matter about all of this, folks. Either way, should I look for more information, or should we just talk about it? Maybe, is it possible that maybe Kozyrev here was right? Did his time or was he basically hoaxing people? Remember, as I said earlier, folks, maybe Kozyrev is basically just a hoaxer, and maybe he was doing this because he wanted to get back at the government that threw him into a labor camp when he was 28 years old. Remember, he spent about 8 years there before he got out. So unless he was already married and had children, which would have been horrible enough, folks, being separated from them like that. So unless he got married afterwards, folks, maybe he was just getting back at the government for destroying his life. Because maybe he never married, maybe he never had kids, and certainly his career was probably basically hurt very badly by basically being imprisoned at a labor camp like that, folks. Remember, he spent part of his prime years of his life, basically his youth, from his late 20s, 28 years old, till his mid 30s or late 30s and stuff like that. Yeah, he was 28 years old, and he got out when he got out. He was 36. Remember, he spent the entirety of the Second World War in a labor camp. So, yeah, he was basically doing the same thing as a bunch of other people that were in concentration camps and labor camps all over basically Europe at that time. So I'm not making a joke about that, folks. But at the very least, he got out of it alive. Though he could have starved like so many people he could have starved to death like so many people did by the ball at the hands of the Russians. That could very well be that could have happened as well. Either way, is it possible that he was on the right track, though? Did his theories basically bear any fruit? Yeah, did bear any fruit. Apparently, people like basically Tromavov and Mr. Kozyrev, other basically theoretical physicists, are basically guys who basically were basically investigating this phenomenon, trying to prove basically if there was any merit to Kozyrev's theories. Apparently, they thought that there was something to they thought basically Kozyrev's mirrors indeed have some sort of relation to torsion fields, so they were trying to prove that. So, but that's just one thing, folks, and stuff like that. Now, I'm trying to find some various ideas here. What else can we say here about this? Yeah. There was also the fact that, remember, people were seeing aliens, or basically people were witnessing UFOs in the same area that these experiments were being taken place. So is it possible that Kozyrev mirrors could act as basically as communication devices as well? Or is it the fact that maybe these alien beings were indeed telepathic and have a higher consciousness, and therefore when people were being these Kozyrev mirrors, their consciousness was indeed rising as well, so it allowed them to basically either not contact aliens directly, but become so, I guess, basically allowed them to basically become beacons and stuff like that, as the article puts it, allowing these aliens to come basically notice them, and this is why they were seeing the same area as these Kozyrev mirror experiments. Maybe. Well, we can only speculate on that, folks. I have to ask if anyone who was using these Kozyrev mirrors, if they were ever contacted by anything they didn't understand, if they ever heard voices, or if something was actually, they felt like something living was watching them or studying them. I mean, if that's true, folks, maybe this was the alien beings trying to basically contact them, or at the very least, they were trying to, well, I guess monitor these people who were using these Kozyrev mirrors, and the ones who were using these mirrors could feel like something was watching them. They didn't know what it was, but they felt something indeed was watching them. I mean, I would have to ask the people, these individual witnesses who were part of these experiments, but I do wonder if there's any truth to that matter. Either way, folks, let me go back over here before we continue. We have 1 watching, so not too bad. We have 60 view watching. Not bad, not bad. It's good. Yeah, we have 63 watching. That's perfect. As I said, folks, we can only wonder about the real instances of this. We can only talk about that. So, was there any truth to Kozyrev's theories? If you use these devices, it sounds like basically all you need is some aluminum and basically shine it up and basically make it build up a round mirror around yourself and build your own Kozyrev mirror. It sounds like indeed this could basically be something I would do myself, folks, basically to expand my consciousness. See if my mind could basically be influenced by this stuff, and see if indeed if I could, well, raise my consciousness and do things like basically maybe communicate with aliens telepathically, or basically communicate with other entities, I guess, telepathically. Hopefully aliens. I wouldn't want to talk to a demon, folks. Either way, indeed, folks, this sounds like you could build your own Kozyrev mirror. All you need is some aluminum and enough of it to make a round mirror around yourself, and then basically, I guess, get inside and basically use them. Maybe either meditate or concentrate, and maybe you could indeed, well, literally contact some entities. Maybe, well, actual aliens from outer space. Anyway, folks, let me stand up. My head's a little out there. I'm trying to find ideas here. And all I can think of is to speculate on this, folks. So, do you believe that any of this is real? Is Kozyrev telling the truth? Did he really believe in what he was doing? If he truly believed in this stuff, folks, then I guess he wouldn't let something like basically spending 8 years in a labor camp stop him. He wanted to prove his theories, and was even willing to work with the government that basically threw him into a concentration camp and basically forced him into hard labor for 8 years. Yeah, if he was so adamant that this stuff was real, okay. So, if true, folks, why would you basically share your information with people who did that to you? Maybe Kozyrev still believed in his government and still wanted the best for them, so he was willing to work for them, even though they basically hurt him like that. So maybe his theory and his work was more important to them than his own pride. Good man, then. To a point. But I still don't like the idea of the Russian government, or I should say the Soviet government, having this kind of power. So hopefully, for any efforts he tried to make, they all failed. Because even if his theory has merit to it, I still don't like the idea of the Soviets having psychic spies, or basically this weird device, these Kozyrev mirrors, that could allow you to influence time in any way. Maybe it would have been very bad. Either way, we can only speculate on the real truth of that matter, folks. Was Kozyrev able to basically pierce through time? The people who use these Kozyrev mirrors, were they actually able to separate their consciousness from their body and literally astrally project them out into the world? Or were they actually able to see through time itself? This is what basically some of the people who said that was what they experienced as they used these mirrors. So we can only speculate if that is indeed what happened. Let me stand up. Either way, if this is indeed true, folks, could it be possible that you could build your own mirror like this, your own Kozyrev mirror, and you could basically use it to see if you yourself could develop psychic powers, or basically expand your consciousness and manipulate time? Is it that simple that all we need to do to basically do something like that is basically making a small room, basically have it rounded completely, and then basically using this mirror to basically pierce reality Is it really that simple to do that? If it were so, if that were the truth, folks, and maybe it is, maybe I can understand why the government would suppress this story, because they're worried that other people would basically try to follow in Kozyrev's footsteps, and maybe they're worried what would happen. Maybe these people would gain superpowers, raise their consciousness to the point where they literally basically can, I guess, float with their minds and manipulate matter or time at will. I can understand why the government would be so fearful of that. You wouldn't be able to basically control a sheep if the sheep had basically a weapon like that, would you? What I'm trying to say, folks, if you can't manipulate sheep if the sheep can do stuff like that, because it'd be impossible. That's what I'm saying. Or is it that they just don't believe it, and that this is why Kozyrev's theories and ideas have more or less been have fallen to the wayside, as people don't really talk about them too much? Because if indeed Kozyrev was indeed right, as I said earlier, folks, why don't more people talk about it? I mean, they do, but this is the first time I think I've ever heard of Kozyrev myself, folks. And then again, maybe I heard about him maybe in a passing mention about time travel and other weird phenomena and other articles. But then again, this is the first time I've read about him totally, and his theories really do I think have some merit. I think there's something to it, but then again, I can't be for sure, folks. As I said, maybe Kozyrev is a very good liar and hoaxer, and he was able to basically lull people in a false sense of security and make them believe that this was real. It's possible as well. Either way, let me sit down again, folks, to the entire standing. As I said, folks, we can only speculate if that is indeed the case, that Kozyrev was telling the truth. Either way, folks, I wish there was a little more information. In fact, maybe I could go over here real quick and basically look at this. Unlocking time involving the enigma of Kozyrev. We could basically look at this article as well, folks, from the Medium, at least basically a little bit of it. Not much of it, because I sure got that article out earlier. But either way, it's probably going to just cover basically some of the information we saw before, folks. So let's look at this. Unlocking time, unraveling the enigma of Kozyrev mirrors, time travel experiments, and stuff like that. All right. The enigmatic concept of time travel has entrenched countless minds through its portrayal in science fiction and fantasy realms. Yet, nestled within the pages of history is a narrative that blurs the lines between science fiction and reality. The captivating tale of the Russian scientists who ventured into the realms of time travel with their pioneering experiments employing Kozyrev mirrors, delving into the theories of Nikolai Kozyrev, a luminary Soviet astronomer. Their audacious pursuits stirred both curiosity, skepticism. In this journey, we shall traverse the corridors of time, exploring the science behind Kozyrev mirrors and their potential to reshape our understanding of reality itself. Unraveling Kozyrev mirrors pearls to temporal distortion. All right, let's. I'm going to skip things we already basically read through before, folks. Either way. Don't expect me to finish this article either. I'm just basically wanting a little more information about these mirrors. Either way, Kozyrev mirrors, intricate spiral structures fashioned from aluminum sheets emerge as the centerpiece of this saga. Not really reflecting light, these mystical constructs possess the power to focus a spectrum of radiations, including those that emanate from living entities. Central to this experiment is Kozyerev's hypothesis. Time is not linear. It's a constant river, but rather a malleable force shaped by energy and matter. According to this groundbreaking theory, the mirrors could potentially introduce disturbances in the temporal fabric, allowing those within to encounter a reality estranged from the world beyond. Maybe. Either way, the epoch of exploration, Siberian scientists' odyssey. In the 1990s, a team of intrepid scientists led by Vitaly Kozyrev and Alexander Tromov embarked on a journey into the unknown. Nestled within the confines of the Institute of Experimental Medicine of Siberia, these visionaries sought to translate Kozyrev's theories into tangible experiences. Their audacious claims resonated like ripples through time. Successful transmission and reception of signals from past and future epochs using the Kozyrev mirrors. Moreover, the mirrors purportedly elicited a profound physiophysical effects in their subjects. A symphony of changes encompassing blood pressure, heart rate, blood temperature, mood, perception, memory, and even consciousness itself. Okay, we read more about Vitaly Kozyrev and Alexander Tromov, and basically saying that indeed there was something going on here, and basically the results physically were also basically seen as well in the subjects who basically took part in these experiments. That's very interesting as well, folks. Very interesting too. Now, Let's read this part as well before we end this live stream. The mirage of otherworldly experiences, the unfathomable encounters. Subjects venturing within the embrace of Kozyrev mirrors recount a symphony of surreal experiences. Among the the tales woven are glimpses of past and future selves, spectral apparitions of bygone events, and even transcendental out-of-body sojourns. These echoes from the unknown challenge the very limits of human consciousness and reality, providing a reflection of the intricate tapestry that intertwines in our perceptions. Our perceptions with the enigma of time. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Either way, folks, this is what we read here. I wanted to read more about Vile Kozyrev and Alexander Tomov, and basically what they said. Yeah, it's very interesting. What we read with their little blurb here, folks, is that indeed these Kozyrev mirrors, at least in their own theories, are able to basically influence time and basically do their own theory of Gaussian fields. This is what basically what people see with these Kozyrev mirrors, how they're able to pierce through time and basically allow people to basically, literally leave their bodies and do other things like maybe see through time. But also the physiological effects on people's bodies. That's something that the last article didn't mention at all, folks. So basically, each person who was part of these experiments, their physical bodies were indeed influenced by the radiations. Well, not actual radiation, folks. We're not talking about nuclear radiation. We're talking about biological radiation of basically both maybe their own bodies and maybe by the biological energies of other people, and by their own energies, or I should say, by their own bodies being influenced by these psychic energies, or these energies caused by these Kozyrev mirrors. Maybe these energies are related to time, I suppose. Remember, Kozyrev thought that time itself was an energy that influenced basically physical matter and time itself. So maybe their bodies were physically influenced by these energies, and they showed physical effects that people, scientists could identify at will. Maybe. It's an interesting idea, folks. Either way, I think that's about enough. I think we read enough. I just wanted to read a little more about this because it was more interesting. These people are just by these two scientists, by Vale Kozyrev and Alexander Trumpov. I wanted to hear a little more about them. So indeed, it sounds like they found some startling facts about Kozyrev's mirrors, and basically this makes that a very good live stream to basically read through. Either way, we're at the end. I think I did enough. Indeed, these Kozyrev mirrors could indeed basically have some merit and truth to them, folks. But we won't know till more experiments are done with them to basically prove any of this is real. But now, folks, we're at the end. So please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics, They're Bad For You. The there is misspelled. It's THERE. Yeah, it's Read Comics, They're Bad For You. It's supposed to be Read Comics, They're Bad For You. Yeah, it's THERE. Yeah, but it's I should say it's supposed to be They're Bad For You, but basically I spelled the there in the title of my YouTube channel is there, just a regular there. So it's Read Comics, They're Bad For You. Go subscribe to me. That was an ordeal, folks. Sorry, my mind's a little out there as it is. I'm tired for some reason. I had a good night of sleep, but still, I got up earlier because I had to do some other stuff. So I guess I maybe not basically at my best. Sorry about that, folks. Either way, let me finish off my normal spiel here, and let's continue. Now, hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Hit the part of the bell that will give you all future notifications. And please share this video out. Now, folks, please go over and subscribe to Dark Sayings on YouTube and on BitChute. Dark Sayings is like my show or Art Bell's old radio show. Live streams and short videos on weird things, high strangeness, and every time we watch one of these videos, it is just great and it's just fun to watch. And his live streams are great as hell, are even better, folks. Either way, he does short videos on high strangeness, as I said. But as I said, he live streams, folks. He live streams around 10 o'clock p.m. at night. When every time you watch one of his live streams, you watch him talk about ghosts, specters, Bigfoot, Mothman, and other cryptid entities, people encountering alien beings, like basically the Pleiadians or basically the gray aliens. And every time you watch one of Dark Sayings live streams, you learn something new about the world of the paranormal. So go subscribe to Dark Sayings on YouTube and on BitChute. Then go subscribe to Robot Co-op. Robot Co-op is like that old TV show, Mystery Science Theater 3000. You know that TV show where that guy is trapped in outer space with these two wisecracking robots and they're forced to watch bad movies and then they roast them? Well, Robot Co-op is like that. They have their own wisecracking robots as well on the show, folks. But it's a live streaming gaming channel. They play good games, they play bad games, but they roast the hell out of them as they play them, and it's just fun to watch them have fun playing video games. It's like being at a party. You sit back, eat something, and drink something, and have a good time. Either way, you're going to love their live streams streams on Twitch on Sunday, folks, because they're just so much fun to watch. So go subscribe to Robot Co-op on YouTube and on Twitch. Then go subscribe to Stitched Together Picks up on YouTube. Stitched Together Picks is a horror Stitched Together Picks is a horror movie review channel hosted by the maniacal cinephile who has multiple personalities. You're not getting one character, you're getting a whole lot of them. All of them are fun. Go subscribe to Stitched Together Picks up on YouTube. Now remember, folks, down in the descriptions or in the chat, I left links. I left links to YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch or BitChute, Dark Saints, Robot Co-op, and Stitched Together Picks. Remember, I'm going to upload 2 exclusive videos soon today, folks. So use those links and go subscribe to me up on Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, or BitChute, okay? I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back soon, and we'll have some more fun. Until tomorrow, folks, until tomorrow, I'll see you all again soon, folks, with another great live stream. So bye. Yeah.